Welcome to Combined Transport and Blackwell Consolidation's Electronic Log Device, or ELD, training.
During this training, you will learn about how the Rand McNally ELD works, what the company will see, and what the DOT will see on your logs. If you have any questions, please call Combined Transport's Log Department or Driver Services.
We are implementing ELDs for many reasons. One of the big reasons we are using ELDs is our CSA score. ELD usage radically reduces CSA scores, keeping our trucks rolling versus being pulled into scales. Record keeping is also much easier, as we only store 6 months of logs electronically. This reduces the amount of violations we would get during an audit. Our efficiency and communication will be improved, as driver services and dispatch can see your logs and your available hours, so they cannot give you loads that you do not have the hours for. Also, by the end of 2016, all trucks doing what we do will be mandated to use ELDs. To log into the Rand McNally, input your driver ID and touch Submit.
The most important button on your Rand McNally device is the blue down arrow. Always look for the blue down arrow if there is a dialog box available. Touching the blue down arrow will open up menus and allow you to properly describe the actions you are performing. For instance, if you want to submit a PO request, touch the blue arrow next to Subject and scroll down until you find Driver Supervision PO Request. Click on Driver Supervision PO Request and fill out the required form, then touch Send.
To access your e-log, click the HOS button on your home screen. The US 8 screen shows you all of your timers on your ELD. The 70-hour timer counts down, starting at 70 after a 34-hour restart. When it reaches 0, you must either take a 34-hour restart or wait until you get rollover hours. The 11-hour timer counts down your drive time, and the 14-hour timer counts down your working hours within the 14-hour window. The 8-hour timer counts down until you need to take a 30-minute break. The 10-hour reset starts as soon as you go off-duty or sleeper berth and mark end of shift. The split reset box shows you if you are able to take an 8 and 2 split. The 34-hour reset shows you when you are eligible for a 34-hour restart. And the 30-minute reset counts down whenever you go off-duty or sleeper berth and mark break. It is recommended to leave this screen up when you are driving so that you can monitor your hours in real time.
When you start your shift, touch the On-Duty button and select Pre-Trip from the Remarks drop-down. This will change your duty status to On-Duty Line 4 and flag Pre-Trip. After you have walked around your truck doing your pre-trip, you are free to just start driving. You can also change your duty status to off-duty if you are going to do personal business.
Log certification is the ELD equivalent to signing your log. On a Rand McNally, you certify your log during your pre-trip on the next day. You must be on duty to certify your log, and you must certify your logs from the oldest uncertified log to the newest. Your log will remind you when you need to certify them. Make sure your logs are correct before certifying them. Once you have clicked Certify, you cannot make changes to your log. You must call Driver Services or Logs to have your log changed.
Simply select the log that does not have the green check marks on the Logs tab. This will pull up that day's log. Check to make sure that it is correct, then click Certify.
To update your trip information, click the Trip Info button on the lower right-hand side of your screen. This will allow you to add your trailer number and CT number to your log. You must update these fields every time you get a new load or a new trailer. The DOT requires your current information to be correct on your log. Select Pre-Trip if you are picking up a new trailer, Post-Trip if you are dropping a trailer off and are going to bobtail, or Drop and Hook if you are switching trailers.
A DVIR is required every time you see the yellow triangle with the exclamation point in it on the DVIR tab. Whenever you see the triangle, click the DVIR tab and add a DVIR. You must also do a DVIR every time you pick up a new piece of equipment. Just click the DVIR tab and select Add DVIR.
Once you click the Add DVIR, a dialog box will pop up. Add your trailer number and select Yes or No on whether or not you found a defect when you did your inspection. If you touch Yes, you must describe the defect on the Add Defect box. Choose the type of defect you discovered from the Location drop-down, then add the specific info under the Defect drop-down. Once you touch Add, your defect will be noted under DVIR.
Once the defect is corrected, select the DVIR that you notated a defect on and mark either No Repairs Needed or Repairs Made and touch Certify. This will complete the DVIR, and a tool symbol will show up on the left-hand side of the DVIR list.
To do an intertrip safety check, select On Duty and choose Safety Check under the Remarks drop-down. The safety check will be flagged until you change your duty status again. Once your safety check is completed, just start driving or select Off Duty, etc.
To flag a fuel stop in your ELD, touch the On Duty button and select Fuel Stop from the Remarks drop-down. Fueling is an on-duty, not driving status and counts against your hours. You may optionally complete an inspection at the same time. For example, when you pull into the fuel island, you can select On Duty and flag Fuel Stop, then select On Duty again and flag Pre-Trip, etc. under Remarks. This flags both fuel and your inspection in the system. It is important to note that you should always log what you are doing. For instance, if you pull up to the truck stop and there are 3 trucks in line ahead of you, you may choose to park and wait for the line to clear up. Select Off Duty or Sleeper Berth, whichever is appropriate. Once the line clears, then select On Duty and Fuel Stop to flag fueling on your ELD. Once you are done fueling, you may opt to just start driving. Your ELD will automatically change your status to driving when it senses movement. You may also select Off Duty if you are not working.
DOT requires that you take a 30-minute break within 8 hours of starting your 14-hour window. To take a 30-minute break, select either Off Duty or Sleeper Berth and choose Break from the Remarks drop-down. You must be stopped for a minimum of 30 minutes for your break to register as a valid 30-minute break. You may view the countdown timer for your break on the US 8 page under 30-minute reset.
Personal conveyance is a great tool that you can use to save your hours. Personal conveyance can be used anytime you drive your bobtail or move an empty trailer for personal business. You may not use PC when you have commodity in your trailer. For instance, if you are at a shipper and drop your trailer to bobtail to a restaurant, you may log your time as off-duty PC. However, if you decide to get fuel while you are out, you cannot use PC as you are working. All work that benefits the company must be logged as on duty. If you call your dispatcher after you are unloaded and your dispatcher tells you they have no loads for you and to go to a truck stop, you should put your device in PC mode and drive to a truck stop to wait for additional instructions. PC does not start your 14-hour clock and does not change your on-duty time. Personal conveyance is all about intent. If you are benefiting the company in any way, you may not use PC. Please remember that Combined Transport and Blackwell have a bobtail policy in effect. Anytime you wish to bobtail anywhere and have not been dispatched to do so, please call Driver Services for authorization. There are pre-approved bobtail routes. Contact Driver Services for details.
To change your log to PC mode, select the Options tab and push Change Mode. Select Personal Conveyance. Once on PC, your log will not change your status to driving while your truck is moving.
When you arrive at a shipper or consignee, immediately touch the on-duty button and select Load or Unload, whichever is appropriate. Flagging load or unload marks your arrival in the log and provides GPS coordinates showing that you are at your stop. This may be important because of detention pay. A shipper or consignee cannot argue that you are not where you are supposed to be if you have GPS proof of your arrival. Once you have flagged your arrival, stay on duty until any work you need to do is done, like opening your doors and sliding your axles. Then mark off duty to save your hours. Remember to go off duty whenever possible to save your log hours.
A split reset is a great tool that can be used to accomplish tasks outside of your regular 14-hour workday. Taking an 8-hour break and then a 2-hour break completes your 10-hour break because 8 plus 2 equals 10. However, when you take your 10-hour break in this way, you extend your 14-hour window so that you can drive your full 11 hours. The math gets very complicated, but your ELD will ensure that you remain legal while doing an 8 and 2 split. For more information, please visit fmcsa.com and search for Split Sleeper. You may also contact Driver Services with your questions.
Surgery?
To mark maintenance on your ELD, touch the on-duty button and select Mechanical from the Remarks drop-down. After you flag the status on your log, you can go off-duty or sleep a berth if you're not working.
To complete your post-trip, touch On Duty and select Post-Trip from the Remarks section. Once you have completed your post-trip, push the Off-Duty button if you are leaving the truck, or the Sleeper Berth button if you are going to be in the sleeper. Select End of Shift and touch Submit. You can view your 10-hour reset timer on the US 8 page under 10-hour reset.
Your ELD will switch your log to Canadian regulations automatically when you cross the border. Once in Canada, you will be running Canadian logs. You must be careful to only run the hours you can justify to the US DOT. For instance, Canadian logs allow 13 hours of drive time, as opposed to the 11 the US drivers are allowed to run. Also, Canadian logs require a 36-hour restart instead of a 34. Please view your compliance under Cycle 1 button if you are Canadian qualified, and call driver services with any logging questions for Canada.
If you are operating as a team, remember to log out of the Rand McNally when switching drivers. Once you log out, your team driver can log in. Your Rand McNally will store the duty status you log out at, so make sure that you go to sleeper berth.
Anytime you have filled out paper logs, your paper log supersedes the ELD. If your unit malfunctions, you drive a truck that does not have an ELD, or if you are working away from your truck, you may need to keep a paper log. It is a DOT requirement to keep 30 days of blank paper logs in your truck at all times while using ELDs.
You must maintain a total of 8 days of logs that you can present to the DOT. Usually, your Rand McNally will keep your log history for you, and you can fax or email your log to the DOT if required. However, if you are required to start using paper logs, you will need to start the paper log at midnight and log the entire day. This will require recreating your day on your paper log. If you do not remember your exact times for the activities previous to starting your log, please contact the log department. The log department will pull your ELD record and help you log that day. The previous 7 days are stored on Rand McNally's servers and can be faxed or emailed to you so you have a copy to show the DOT if they ask for them. To start using your ELD again, you must either take a 34-hour restart or keep paper recap of your hours. The reason for this is that the ELD will not know about the paper logs you kept, and therefore will not add those hours into your available hours. You must always send a copy of your paper log to the log department within 13 days. Tearing off the white copy and including it with your trip pack is the easiest way to keep your copies to the log department.
If you notice any issues with your ELD, you need to report them immediately to the log department or to driver services. The most common issue is your ELD locking up. When your screen freezes, hold the rubber power button down on top of the unit for about 10 seconds. The unit will then shut off. Push the rubber power button on again to turn your unit back on. This will clear many of the problems with the Rand McNally. If you have further errors, contact driver services or logs immediately. You may need to start using paper logs again until the errors are fixed.
If you make a mistake with your log and need to change it, you are able to fix your log so that it accurately represents your activities. Drivers can edit off-duty, sleeper berth, and on-duty, not driving statuses. If you need to make changes to the driving line, you must call driver services or the log department. Keeping your log current and pressing buttons that correspond to the activities you are performing will minimize the time you have to spend correcting mistakes on your log.
Combined Transport provides you with a Rand McNally Quick Reference Guide. This guide provides you with step-by-step directions for completing many functions of your ELD. However, if you have certified your log or you need to change the driving line, you must call driver services or the log department. Please understand that when driver services or logs edits your log, they are assuming liability for the edit. We need to know exactly what happened so we can make the edits. All edits are flagged in red for easy identification. However, when you fax or email your logs to the DOT, all the flags are pulled out. The DOT only gets a graph and event flags.
It is against the law for anyone, including the DOT, to edit your log without your permission. You must ask driver services or logs specifically to edit your log. Driver services and the log department will view the available GPS data before making any changes in order to ensure that frivolous corrections are not occurring. If an officer of the law is going to be in your truck viewing your ELD, make sure to put it in the roadside audit mode. Roadside Audit Mode locks the ELD down so that no edits or changes can be made and allows the officer to view your log. To exit Roadside Audit Mode, click the Options tab and select Change Mode, then click Normal. You will be required to enter your Blackwell user ID to leave Roadside Audit Mode.
It is important to remember that the DOT is in the business of writing tickets. Please allow your log to speak for itself. Many drivers have talked themselves into a ticket instead of just having the DOT officer look at their log. You should avoid answering questions about your log. Ask the officer for his fax number or email address so that they may view your log to answer any of their questions.
There are several interesting features in your ELD that you should be aware of. You should not be switching yourself to driving mode. When you start driving, your log starts a timer. Once you have traveled 3 miles, your log will change your log to line 3 driving and start the driving line when it noticed you driving. If you move less than 3 miles, the timer will automatically reset after 5 minutes. The same is true if you stop driving. When the log sees that you have been stopped for 5 minutes, it will switch you to on duty not driving and back your log up to the point where you stopped.
Another feature of your Rand McNally unit is the geofence. When you are on private property, you should never be logging on the line 3 driving line. There are no public roads on private property, therefore you cannot drive. We can put a geofence around private property to notify us if your log is going to change your status to line 3 driving. If your log moves you to the driving line while within a geofence, call driver services or the log department immediately.
If you have any questions about your ELD, please do not hesitate to contact Logs. You may call or email Logs at logs@combinedtransport.com or call driver services. Thank you for all the work that you do, and it is our honor to serve you, the customer.